All right, we have been watching CBS Boston's coverage from Providence, Rhode Island, where police say they've identified the person of interest wanted in connection with last week's fatal shooting at Brown University. They are actively looking for this person. And I want to go now to CBS News correspondent Tom Hanson, who has been covering this from the beginning in Providence. Tom, what have we learned?
Yeah, hey there, Lindsay. Well, CBS News has learned that authorities have identified that person of interest. Now, there's not a lot of information beyond that, but we do know that a manhunt is currently underway, a massive manhunt. As you were just listening to with WBZ's coverage, there is a lot of activity at Boston Logan International Airport. And really, this is capping off 6 days of a lot of questions, not many answers. Authorities operating on very limited information here, a very slow drip of surveillance footage that had been centered around the building where Saturday's shooting unfolded. They were identifying a person of interest who had been seen before and after that tragic event unfolded. They also yesterday came out with an enhanced image of a second person who they were interested in talking to. And so there could be some sort of nexus there where perhaps that second person of interest, or not a person of interest, but that second person who they wanted to talk to could provide them with some information. There was video that was provided of the two having some sort of interaction at some point in or around the area where the shooting took place. You know, authorities have spoken to me. They have said that for many, many days now, this investigation has been stifled by the lack of security footage that has come out. There's been a lot of frustration from people in the law enforcement and also in and around campus because there has not been a lot of security footage. A lot of questions over those 1,200 cameras on Brown University's campus not being able to come up with much helpful footage to help identify this. You know, the initial images that came out were enhanced this week. They show the person of interest in a mask, donning pretty much an all-black outfit, so not many identifiers there. They had called on the public to provide any information to scrutinize that video and analyze this man, this person of interest, the gait of their walk, their stature, those kinds of things. Now, we spoke to the police chief last night after my evening news live shot. He came out, he talked to us, and I asked him what exactly they are looking for in any additional video that they may obtain. He said that they were looking for clues, as in whether or not this person of interest hopped in a car, if they went to a residential building, what direction they were going. And so as of last night, this investigation was pretty much in a holding pattern when it came to the information that was provided to us. It sounds like the activity has ramped up. Authorities have now identified that person of interest. His whereabouts, though, still unknown at this hour, Lindsay.
I know you also talked to the mayor, and you've been talking to residents, too. I'm sure a lot of students have probably already left for winter break because tomorrow is the last official day of class. What have they been telling you, and did the mayor shed any more light on the investigation?
On the heels of us arriving, Lindsay, there was essentially a mass exodus of students because finals had been canceled, and there was just a lack of a sense of security in and around campus for those kids. So they were undoubtedly scared. Now, we did sit down with the mayor yesterday, and I asked him, how do you square your statement saying that this community is safe while also having someone who is potentially armed and dangerous still at large with their whereabouts unknown? And he said basically that everyone has been anxious in this Providence community ever since the tragedy unfolded, but people needed to go about their day-to-day lives in the aftermath of all of this. He cited stepped-up police presence all around this area, which we have seen, you know, police pretty much on every corner, police cruisers patrolling the campus, patrolling the communities around Providence. You know, one thing that I want to point out, too, was this wasn't just something that was limited to Brown University. That building where this shooting unfolded was on the very edge of campus. And so there was a lot of concern from residents who were nearby that this person of interest, believed to be armed and dangerous, could be going around the streets of their neighborhoods. And so, you know, understandably, a community shaken here. And then you learn of another shooting at MIT. Now, we don't know if there is any nexus between the two, but there are a lot of communities in this region that are no doubt on edge and no doubt will be relieved once this person of interest is caught. Lindsay.
Tom Hanson, thank you so much. I want to bring in Rodney Harrison, former Suffolk County Police Commissioner and CBS News law enforcement analyst. Was the hard part making the identification, or is the hard part now finding the person?
Well, it's going to be both, and it's good that they have somebody identified. Now the level of concern is how is this subject fleeing custody, and is he on foot? Is he in a wooded area? Is he in a car? Is he staying at somebody's location? And what's going on right now is you have several teams, probably some FBI, some Providence Police Department, working together to see if they could track this individual down and use whatever type of technology they can to see what his location is. But it also, everything depends on what's his way of egressing from this incident. It's been about 4 or 5 days now, and now the tracking has begun. And listen, if he's in a wooded area, they're going to have to use K9 and heat detection drones. If he's in a car, they're going to have to use license plate readers if they know the type of vehicles he's in. So it all depends on how he's on the run and whatever technology the law enforcement agencies over in Providence are going to use to be able to track him down.
How difficult is it for law enforcement that this manhunt has exceeded 5 days now, technically day 6, the fact that at this point this individual could be anywhere?
Well, that is extremely hard because, I'm not sure if they were able to put a flag on him to stop him from getting on a plane or traveling on some type of bus for transportation. But it definitely has made the hunt a lot more difficult that he has been on the run. The one thing that I would like to see is get the community involved in getting this individual's face out there and having them identified, so you're not putting law enforcement at a tactical disadvantage, but yet at the same time, community residents may be able to identify this individual if they happen to cross his path and call either a Crime Stoppers hotline or notify a local law enforcement agent. Could be the best way of going forward to help bring this person into custody.
We were hearing Tom talk about people lamenting about the lack of video footage. Do you think this is going to force the university to reevaluate some of its security measures?
Lindsay, I had that concern. I don't know if the campus has what we call an emergency operations center, where there's cameras that come into a one room, which is being viewed by a security personnel. I would assume that they have that. If they don't, then shame on them. But I will say this: the delay in getting out the video of this individual, this subject walking around campus, entering that engineering building, egressing, leaves me a room for questioning and to see what type of technology or public safety things they have in place to make sure that these incidents don't happen going into the future.
We know that the next time police brief the public, what are some of the questions that you would be asking if you were in that room?
The most important thing is, can we get a picture of this individual? If they don't have a picture, then what I would like to see is a very good description of the clothing that this person was wearing. And once again, it's this, Lindsay, all it takes is a little identifying mark on the individual that, believe it or not, somebody that saw a family member, a friend, somebody that they saw leaving a location could say, yeah, I saw that individual leaving the store with that same identifying mark. So if he can't provide a face, then at least give us a breakdown of his clothing down to the T, any identifying mark or anything else that he was carrying, so the community could potentially help us with this investigation and bring this person to justice.
Rodney Harrison, thank you so much.